If you have any, here, if you guys would like to sign it, please write your name, your address, and the topic that you will be speaking. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I guess if it was unlimited, it would really be the only.
Oh, good. I said she wanted a camera. I'm like,
More.
everybody just really started.
They really.
Yeah, so just like pictures.
Karen started that trend, and good for Karen.
Yeah, because I told her, I said,
I had to try and scream to get my, as chairman.
Right. Well, the chairs should.
By hand,
You know,
your address.
I suggested one person.
Yeah, sorry.
The only thing for like this was those two.
That's refreshing to see that. Unacceptable. No, it's okay. You go into the next line.
This is, well, just a question, I know we received one, is this not Mitch's way?
Yeah.
It isn't. Okay, got it.
Yeah. There'll be a time for you guys are, that's the first.
Yeah, they don't have to sit.
Applicant. So, during that time, we'll have like a public hearing, like notes, just generally things to say, but then during that time, we'll be here. You'll have one of those minutes.
One of them actually have another amendment.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
I said, no.
I'm staying in,
And who are you on?
in a rural. I think
The vice chair.
it's a fact that it's
Yeah.
becoming more prevalent in birds.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Maybe I'm just saying because I have to go there.
You feel less numbered, Joe?
Never. It's all buying. There's some things to work out.
Okay, okay, yes.
We'll talk about it. The attorney will be here.
Say that. Oh. That's good.
We'll see where it goes. But I do, there's a question I have about you writing a determination as the planning board secretary.
Okay.
This is my.
What you wanted.
And he had a question. Now I talk.
I'm aware that much stuff has transpired. And I'm not aware. I'm aware of it transpiring, but I'm not aware of what's everybody's talking about.
So, he talks about that.
Okay. Well, Matt's gonna be here.
Yes.
Deb is gonna be here.
This part.
Everybody will be here.
Today.
Matt may be late because he's coming out of his ZBA.
How are you? Good.
Oh, okay. He was here today and.
ZBA realm.
When that gets here, I told him.
Yeah. So like I said, you might, I feel late. Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you?
I'm not beat up my lunch and in a hard chair. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're official now.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Still good to be on the hot
Daily, the hourly. It's like it's gonna be whole later.
Yes.
I may, I usually.
That's celebration.
How do you do? It was like, I could stick my.
So you realize our job is to Warm like around.
Oh, I didn't know that. Right?
You said adjacent.
He's what?
If you said adjacent.
Oh, really?
Sometimes here.
Okay.
You're perfect.
Okay, all right.
Not yet.
What do you like?
Not till 7, and I do
know.
know that there is one more board member that says he's coming, so we'll meet for him. Still has 5. Yeah. Yeah, it's, yes.
Okay. Is that like access, do you access that through like, never been up there before.
Communication.
Okay, so it's a left, it's like where the hickory is. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So where, so if I go up to like, yeah, really, yeah, I've never been up there. Is that like where Todd Pop said or like up there? You felt like up there?
The rest of my family is there.
I know.
So how would you get there from
I don't know.
Dutch? Like Schultes?
It's like 2 streets down from her.
So then Allison Lee must live there, because I know she lives like right next to us.
Yeah.
So if I was going to Sun Hill, would I turn off for like the tennis courts?
The road that comes out.
I just use for Barefoot Park.
Yes.
Carol.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take that. Never been upset.
Oh.
Whoa.
Crocs and socks. Crocs and socks.
Crocs and socks.
I was almost ready. I said cruise through sandals and socks.
That's close. It's close.
Forward, they're casual, they're not working.
Do you do work in Crocs?
So you flip them over and then you don't have a pattern. Casual. Yeah.
That's dangerous. But what if you have something falling on your foot?
Then you mess it up anyway. Scale, make it worse. I don't.
You said time lapse
Yeah,
video.
they're gonna go.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be, it's gonna work out.
You make it look easy when I said time lapse.
It's so.
It was like.
Distraction on your system.
What?
I say get the distraction of the other board members out of your system. Your contractor, I did the order. On the ceiling. So thank you. The code. Is there? Okay, I tried. Into that. It's really obscure. It took a few minutes. You looked at it, right? It does not.
Wait, what?
He came in about.
Pressure.
It's already put there. They're moving to another location. Readily accessible. You didn't have to go like this, you had to read it or. That's what it came under, the accessibility measures. All right.
Like mine, I got paid for.
I knew there had to be something. There's something there that almost either it just seemed like that. Did you see the original? I remember looking at it,
Everywhere. Did I scrape?
like, I looked away.
Well, that's what.
Fantastic. And it's 6:59. Counselor. You have bigger stacks. Than me. Yeah, people get to these things.
I got it just taking a look.
Okay, the time is now 7 p.m. I now call to order the May 9th, 2024 zoning board of appeals meeting for the town of Hurley. Do I have a motion to open the meeting? Third, motion by Kara, second. Second by Alex. All in favor, verbal aye or show of hands? Warren? All present in favor, none opposed. Let the record state we're currently missing Liston and Andy.
And we're like,
And we're gonna discuss that later.
Listen,
I believe, yes, he confirmed. So he might just be a little bit late. Okay. We have form. We can move through what we're gonna do. I would like to ask everybody to please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, time where I usually forget to open the public comment section and I'll close it immediately thereafter. So right now I'm going to make a motion to open the public comment section of the meeting. Second by Kara. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor, none opposed. This is the time in the meeting where we welcome public commentary regarding to anything on our agenda. Keep in mind that if you're present for a section or an application that has a public hearing this evening, there will be time granted for speaking at that time in the public hearing. Otherwise, if there is something else on the agenda you would like to address with the board and make a public comment about, now is the time. Is there anybody present that would like to make a comment? Public hearing section or the public comment section of the meeting. We'll allow this lady to check in.
Sorry.
We're on time this evening, which is semi-rare. Before you just join, right now we're in the midst of a public comment section of the meeting. If you're here for something that has a public hearing or this evening, there's going to be time given for public commentary. But if there's something else on the agenda you wish to address, will be your time. Public comment. Going once. Going twice. 3 times. No public members present. Having initiated a public comment, I motion that we close the public comment section of the meeting. Second, all in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor, none opposed. Welcome, Liston.
Oh, sorry I'm late.
No problem.
Makes me feel important.
Fashionably late. Okay, so under old business and public hearings, we have 2 public hearings this evening. The first we have scheduled for approximately 7:10. Gee whiz, this time is off.
This time is 7:05.
7:04. I may have a little bit of a wait time here.
Do you want to say? Say yes.
So we can, in the act of keeping things moving, we can discuss that. I do have the liberty to adjust the agenda on July. Yeah. So since we have 5 minutes before our first scheduled public hearing, the board is going to discuss an issue that we have scheduled later in the agenda because I believe we can maybe get through this. So that issue would be our board member Andrew Shapiro's attendance / resignation / request to step into an alternate spot. As I discussed with the board perhaps last meeting, I believe that the town is working on a resolution to give our board alternatives. With that being said, and Andy.
Wait, alternative?
Alternates.
Right. Alternative and then.
Alternates it is. Doesn't matter of Latin. Diagram, the Steve Testament. So, and he's still a busy man, and just not always been able to attend all of our meetings, in succession. And being that we have new applications or applicants before us requesting to be members of the board who would like to be in attendance constantly, he has made us aware. Did everybody receive this email? I think maybe it was only sent to us.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So there was an email sent from Andy saying that he wishes. Yeah, I can read it right now.
Or you're wondering.
Either or, the board, I'll read it and then if you can get it up before the time I finish.
Ah,
Came on.
So, Andy had written an email, to the Hurley Zoning Board of Appeals. That's present. This email serves as an official notice of my intent to step into an alternate spot on the ZBA and serving in that capacity as of May 8th. 2024. I look forward to serving that capacity going forward. Respectfully, Andy Shapiro. Too late. So obviously, we don't have alternate spots as of yet. Still to be determined. However,
So is this a resignation until there?
it does not officially state resignation. However, I feel his
He stepped
intent
into a
is
spot that doesn't
clear.
exist. So we have.
He's requesting a spot when it does exist, is what my interpretation is of this. I feel that his intentions are clear, that he will gladly step into that spot when it is available. So moving forward, the attorney, I believe, would like us to recognize this and his tentative schedule
There
as
is two separate ways that you guys can basically handle this. One is get clarity from him, just to like clarify that you are resigning until you pointed to that. If he clarifies that he's resigning, then it makes it much easier for the town board to say we're accepting a single resolution, we're accepting his resignation and appointing somebody new to take that spot. The alternative to that would be you as a board would have to notify the town board that his intent is to have this alternate spot, that he, his attendance in the past 2 years has been, identify that for them. And, what your recommendation is that should be removed and a new member should be appointed. It would be much cleaner if you can clarify that he does intend to resign, but it's really up to you as to how you want to proceed at this point.
I ask a question of you, is if we requested that he clarified his intentions, does that mean that we have to wait till our next meeting, recognize that intention, and then hand it over, or can that happen in the
And you guys
meantime?
can have a discussion here, and it's not like you guys are actually taking any official action. they are picked on the town board. So you can discuss that based on his, it's, notice that he does not intend to be an active member, that he hasn't been showing up at meetings for the past 2 years, that, you guys are looking to have the town board appoint somebody else, and if he does clarify his resignation, if they accept and appoint someone else, the alternative.
So let me query the board at the moment.
I would imagine that one of the key components, if there was in fact a legitimate alternative position, is that person steps in when we need them, which would then mean that the core trait related to a person would be reliability.
And attendance.
Well, I'm still unclear as to what the alternates official, I don't know that they
Well,
have
they
to
should
sit
be-
on
they
the
should be
speaker
on
for
board.
every single
That
meeting.
they're expected to be at board meetings. Somebody
So
else.
if someone doesn't show, they're able to just.
Yeah, because
So this gives us our
They ride in the bench. And say,
you just tell them,
I mean, one of the biggest things with this role is to show up once a month. And that was challenging in the last 2 years. For sundry amount of reasons, but
obviously I'm putting a lot of weight on Karen Horn and Alex's input here because Karen and Liston obviously just were. Well, so board members present, do you feel that we should reach out to Andy and request that he submits a more detailed form of resignation, or do we want to
Let's say
say,
something like, Andy, sounds great, alternate position may exist in the future, for now, we need you to state that you don't want to be on someone.
I roughly did that already.
Okay. You go back to alternate then.
I didn't go into a lot of detail.
That's
With him?
like,
I didn't spell it out, but I put that.
It's not emotional, it's not like, it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you gotta go.
Either way, you guys can decide to have, the chairman, submit a letter to the town board, basically, requesting that, either they accept Andy's resignation, or if, that resignation is not submitted, that they, remove somebody in that place, that way you're covering multiple bases, they can address it. Hopefully the resignation will be submitted before that, and they can set that or appoint someone else on the body.
Yeah, well, we should to tell Andy the easiest thing is for him to just clearly access the prison. We love this area.
Second. All in favor of verbal aye or show of hands. New board members, you can abstain if you want, or you're more than welcome to make. Abstain? Okay, list the new are in favor.
I am.
Okay, so, let's roll call this very quickly. Did you catch Horn's
Yeah, I got
motion? Okay. Horn's motion, I seconded it. In favor was Karen, Alex, and Liston, and myself, with Karen abstaining. And obviously Andy is
And this is,
present.
I just want to make sure that it's a letter to the town board, so they,
I think there's a letter to Andy saying.
Letter to Andy.
Yep. And we'll see where it goes there.
so we'll ask for a resignation. So just to be clear, we're asking for a resignation.
We're asking Andy directly to specifically resign. And he may or may not be offered a alternate spot.
Wouldn't an alternate be kind of cumbersome? Because these things go from month to month to month, so you'd have to show up for the entirety of starting.
You'd have to show
We're
up.
talking about for the
And
alternate.
ultimately, if and when the laws change so that there are alternates for this board, it's up to the town board to appoint them.
Has it really ever been an issue? Other than the that we were all on the.
No.
Yeah, there's been other issues.
And Alex is
Constantly
here.
traumatized by it.
Which, well, really should.
All right. Let's move on now, because we're after 7:10, at least by regular clocks. I don't know what's 7 o'clock. And so we are going to move on to our first public hearing, which is the matter of, sorry, I'm looking at, yes. The application of 35 Muse Rose Hughes Road. Sorry. Which was a variance for side yard of 3 feet, I believe. Or was it 2 feet, 11 inches?
Yeah,
3 feet.
for 3 feet.
3 feet.
I believe I did, yeah.
Obviously, we were at the previous meeting. I would like to make a motion that we open the public hearing on this. Second by Alex, all in favor, verbal aye or show of hands, all present in favor, none opposed. Okay, the public hearing is now open on this matter. Anybody here willing to speak on this application or eager to speak and has anything to address the town board about or the zoning board about is welcome to step up at this time. Sorry. Better.
Or the applicant who need us to.
I usually give you guys a chance to like speak at the end. If anybody else wants to just make statements.
So I don't miss something today.
Yeah, sure.
Fine.
Does not seem like there's anybody here that is eager to speak on this application, so are more than willing to address the board again at this point.
Usually, snap this.
Okay, this one,
Yeah.
you got green.
We can represent, I'm Josh Wilkinson, architect, and the owners are Gary and Sue.
Everyone?
They wanted to meet. So I thought if there was additional questions. If you could find, well, I said we had it before.
Yes,
Then I said some photos.
yes, so your report plans.
So this is the area here, this area here is existing 1900s, fairly white building that was showing photos. And then this section here is replacing a late 1980s addition. The variance we're here for tonight involves this carport, which is within the setback. We would like this to be a 12-foot carport, and then the issue is that this outbuilding, or this carpet outbuilding, which we call the wood shop, is at this point 3 feet over the setback, and it's side yard setback. So if you could go to the building elevation, that would be great. We'll go through this. This is the topo map that we're including. One of the main things on the site is it's very steep. There's 9 or 10, actually 10, over 10 feet difference between this point and down here. So the level area that we're seeking build on is along the roadside. So that's part of the reason to come here. We look for alternate areas, but they will be much too steep to build practically. Next, perhaps the next slide, the next image. I think this gives you more detail on where the existing septic is. This is an overlay map showing the existing houses, or the existing addition, and this is the area we're adding on to. So that's certainly that's system. Next, we have elevation. That's the survey. Did I have elevations at the top? Maybe
What does that black area denote on the lower map right there?
Oh, that's actually, a map, that's really an area, that's mostly this area here, like that area here is a terrace. We call upper terrace, that's a lower terrace. This is landscape paving. So I think it's a little heavy handed in terms of graphics of this drawing. That was put in, and then this is an area that's a gravel parking area. And then the the septic areas down here and, study utilities. So a lot of this is actually designated for paving, new stone on. It's not on, concrete or most of it's on, earth or compact. And that maybe the top, was the first one, the, top drawing of the, so one,
Let me see it, make sure.
yeah. Ah, yeah, so this gives you the character of, I think, these are ones that.
The top would be the back, that's the back view.
Yeah,
Back view.
That's, yeah.
That's the east elevation.
Yeah, that is correct. We did fix it. So this is the original, Hurley White. Actually, the central part was probably the earliest part, but these were the early 1900s. This is the new work, the new edition replacing the 1980s version of it. And then this is the area that we're talking about. That's the rear view. So this would be from down Maverick Road or looking up. I had any crossing photos as well, just so that we could look. So that would be the carport, that's the shop, and then this gives you a sense of the overall materials. There's certainly a characteristic of the smallest wood siding or cedar shakes. Very natural materials, blue stone foundations, that type. So the elevations, not like completely nice, but it'll maintain the character. I think one important thing is it does maintain the character of houses along what's called Maverick Town. It's very similar in the overall sense of that. So then below, this section here is the road, would be the roadside version. So this area has original shakes. This we're going to go to horizontal side of it, as it gives it, sort of designates what it's doing. And open pasture. And then I guess if we could see some photos of it, here. I think that's nice to see. That's the Google Earth. These.
I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't believe that.
Oh, okay. I had emailed them, so I don't know.
I don't know, yeah, maybe.
Okay, this.
Sorry.
Well, it's fine.
Maybe it's in Spain.
Many members of the board feel that photographs are going to change their decision or discussion.
Sketch is beautiful.
Yeah, discussion.
All right.
I think
well,
you've done a fantastic job at submitting all the details
Okay.
relevant to the project.
Under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else present this evening that would like to speak on this application at 35 Hughes Road? Do any members of the board have questions at this time for the applicant? I move that we close the public hearing on this matter. Second by Alex. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor, none opposed. Do you want to have any discussion on this matter? Is there any questions that anybody has that we have to discuss for the board? Any confusion on the application or queries? I don't know myself either. Well, criteria time to track. I can find it. Well, let us read considerations for granting an area variance. A, will an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties be created by the grant of the area variance? I don't feel such. Forgot to ask Secretary if we received any emails or correspondence.
No.
Yeah.
There's one.
So for this application, we've received no other outside of public commentary, additional correspondence. So A, that's an F. B, will the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved in some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the variance? I believe, given the construction of the addition and how the original house is laid out, there's not a whole lot of other ways they could go. I think it was on check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Sorry, did everybody catch that? Item B. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't believe that they're gonna perceive their methods due to the constructs of the topography of the location in the parcel. Does everybody agree with that? Criteria is met. C, will the requested area variance be substantial? We're talking about rounded up 3 feet here, so they don't believe it is a substantial request whatsoever. Does everybody agree with that? D, will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? Don't believe that would be the case by any means. Everybody agrees? E, is the alleged difficulty self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Board of Appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. I don't believe it's self-created. These are the zoning laws that are created within the town of Hurley, and for them to expand their residents as they see fit, they need to request this variance. Everybody agree with that? F, is the variance the minimum necessary? I don't know, they did ask for 3 feet and not 2 feet, 11 inches and 3/4. But I would say no, it is not substantial. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, and G, imposition of any conditions or restrictions. I can think of none. Anybody else? With the conditions being read, I would like to make the motion that we approve granting the area variance of 3 feet. Side yard 3. Second by Karen. All in favor, verbalize, show of hands. Everybody has their hands up over. All present in favor, none opposed. Congratulations. Your area variance has been. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, our next public hearing of the evening is the public hearing of the application brought before us by our very own planning board. This is the determination or interpretation, sorry, of the application before us of whether or not the, I guess I can't call it addition, but the renovation of an original structure at 75, where's Lang Lane? Is that address?
High Rock.
High Rock.
No, you're.
I'm looking at the, okay, I apologize.
Porcelain Lane's last.
Oh,
night.
yeah. I don't know.
No problem.
Here. 150 High Rocks Road.
150 High Rock, sounds right. I was looking into the next. Skipping ahead into the future, sorry. So whether or not this is in fact, as determined by our CEO, a accessory use structure or to be classified as a home business occupation,
Customary home occupation.
customary home occupation.
So there was one person that called in and left me a message. His name is Joe.
Okay, let's get to it when we open the public session. No problem. So with that being said, I would like to make the motion that we open the public hearing on this matter. Second by Alex. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor. Okay, at this time, the public hearing is open on this matter, and any members of the public that are here present this evening are more than welcome to step up and share any commentary with the board at this time. Sir, are you signed in on our list over here?
He's agent for the owner.
Oh, agent for that, okay.
I didn't see when it came in.
No problem.
May also be.
Just sign in and you'll have to reiterate that when you step up to the microphone or just.
Do I hit the microphone or can I just use my voice?
I think the mic, I think.
Yeah.
This one
Okay.
here?
Yeah.
Yep, should be on.
You hear me? It's not
It's not on.
I don't mind talking loud. Can I just talk loud? Is that okay?
As long as you project so everybody can hear.
Can you guys
Do
hear
a
me
test.
back there? Okay. If you don't mind, so I'm the architect. I'm here representing the owner. So I submitted the application initially through the planning board. I'm here just because there's some clarifications that I'm seeking relative to the process. So the first thing, if it's okay for me, and this is for the neighbors who may be here, who are only informed of this based on this zoning application. Paul, do you mind just clarifying for me the difference between the two classifications that are in question, right? The home occupation versus the other one?
Versus not a home occupation.
Well, yeah,
Well, home occupation would be, the definition is not in the zoning, the definition section of the zoning. I did not classify it as a home occupation because the building, essentially, he's gonna take the mansion, decommission it, and use a small portion of it as a personal use studio. The gentleman is a very renowned musician, and he generates his income by touring. So this portion of the mansion that's going to become a personal use studio is not going to be used to generate income. He's been using it for approximately 4 years. He's been in, that he's owned the property. Barry's designed a new house, which will be also on the property, and the small portion of the studio. So consequently, it didn't really meet anything remotely resembling the home occupation. For example, I've issued 2 approvals in the last month for home occupation, one on Main Street, one on Eagles Nest. And they were both for persons. One was a massage therapist, one was an acupuncturist. There's 1 room in their house, a couple extra parking spaces. And that's it. And you can have a very small sign. Even if this were to be classified as a home occupation under the auspices of the zoning, he meets the criteria where there's no referral to the planning board, as were the 2 I approved in the last month. There are exemptions. If we meet all 4 exemptions, it doesn't go to the planning board. If the ZBA decides that this is a home occupation, it still would not go to the planning board. So I'm a little uncertain where the question of use arose. It did come up at the last planning board meeting that I attended, and my recollection, and it may be in the minutes, it may not be, was that the council to the planning board had the question about use, and I stated flat out, use was already declared a use permitted by right. And somehow it evolved to a situation where they felt it necessary to appeal that determination.
so.
That's where we stand now.
In some, there's a difference between the initial determination that you made and the interpretation that the planning board is taking on the same time.
Yes, they want,
That's why we're here.
they're appealing my determination. If you read the zoning, section for interpretations. It is an appeal, hence the need for
Right,
the public hearing.
so that is why we are here.
Correct.
Okay, and I'm just seeking clarification because it hasn't been entirely clear to me.
Certainly, and I did have some questions for you as well, but perhaps we can get this towards the end
Okay.
versus the public
Did I
hearing
answer your
section.
question?
Yeah, you did, okay. Can I make one other statement and then I'll be
Yes,
quiet?
certainly.
Okay.
Well, we may have questions for you, so I hope you're not quiet, but, I want to make sure during the public comment section that we,
Okay. Maybe I'll wait for your question.
okay, certainly. Is there any other members of the public here this evening that have, comments on this application before the board right now? Now, there are behind you. But, by all means, yeah, all right, step right up.
I'll try to project. My name is Don Ortella. I am I guess your neighbors. I don't recognize anybody, but I live next to Pat. And, I'm a little confused because I'm not of a legal background, why I got a letter that was certified saying there's a project going. And in that letter, there was something about a personal or a commercial studio. So that, of course, is a concern to somebody that is going to be living next door to something like that. So not exactly knowing what the project is, I would hopefully get an explanation. I can say that I have no objections to the current situation. I live next door for a while, and it has been perfectly okay in terms of a residential use. I would say that I would like to see, as far as codes are concerned, I would like to see those maintained, and whatever is normal for a residential area be kept. Has anybody here been up to that point? Well, obviously you have, but has anybody gone up to the area here on the board?
I believe there was a visit by the planning board members. However, I cannot speak to the rest of the zoning board at this time.
I've been there.
But again, this is time for you to make public commentary, but we don't have really a back and forth.
One of my concerns is myself certainly is probably primary, and my neighbor Greg here is also very, very close. But we are in a situation where we're on a single lane, private, self-maintained road. Again, if we keep the residential area as it has been, it is what it is. It is something that we all live with and exist with. To change anything other than a residential area or use of this property would be a problem on our road. And I think it's incumbent, and whether it's legal or I think it's ethical, that everybody in that road, everybody involved in the single lane on the private road be notified of this, because it's not just myself and Greg. It may legally say 250 feet within. But again, if this is a renovation of a property for residential use and it's within code, I have no objection to anything such as that. If it is anything other than that, I would want to know a lot more about it at this point. So it has been fine, other than some little issues I could work out with Pat on my own, as far as something that the architect could deal with, light and things like that. That's my comment. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else here this evening that would like to make a comment?
Well, my comment was very petrol with High Rocks Road. Really was answered by, I guess, Paul, because this is in terms of the genesis of this letter. And who exactly made the determination that this was a commercial recording studio or would be a commercial recording studio? And what were the facts behind that determination? That was really.
Do you understand there were some questions about that past week? And I recognize that, and I understand thoroughly, and that's why we're here at a public hearing to address all these matters.
Was that in the public notice that it was a commercial?
It doesn't say the word commercial.
I didn't actually see.
I didn't either.
It says
There's
it
no
was
determination that it was. Determination and the request for interpretation.
surprised that was used because my determination was very clear that it was a personal use to the accessory to the residence permitted by right. I'm really a little bit surprised that that language was used.
My last comment.
So, yep, now.
So I'm here just to provide clarification with regard to that letter for the neighbors. That Pat's intent really, by including this in the application with the planning board, was to clarify what he has been doing since he took occupancy of the house. And he will continue to do the exact same thing that he's been doing before. So he's not looking to turn it into anything commercial. He's not looking to change the nature of how he uses, he sits in there, he practices, he composes, he occasionally records himself. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, one musician might come up, like anybody who has a home recording studio might have somebody come to lay a track down. To your comments, no changes in terms of traffic or anything. I just wanted to clarify that because regardless of the language of the letter, language is very limited in terms of what it can communicate, but it's easy to suggest that it's something very different than what he proposes. That's all I wanted to clarify.
And then, we did have one person calling, Joe Lucey, and this is that he's in full support of his project. It doesn't have any sort of objections.
Okay, that was a
Yeah.
verbal.
It was verbal.
Yeah.
Is that a neighbor? It's a neighbor. It's his direct neighbor on the ridge side of the property, which is technically.
Joel's on the top of one.
So what did they say? I'm sorry.
Okay, they said that they're in
Same,
full
same
support
out,
of
just
the
different.
project. I mean, I guess for you guys, I voicemail, but it's okay.
Does anybody feel they need to hear the voicemail, or do we take our second? Is there anybody else present here this evening that has anything to add public comment wise in the public hearing? While we have the public hearing open, is there any questions from board members? I do have one. The artifacts. Part of the confusion on my end, I'm gonna see exactly where you're coming from. On your letter that you wrote to the board previously, you did use the term home occupation on it. And I did see in reviewing the planning board minutes that the term home occupation was used at several points. Mr. Economos spoke on your behalf at the previous meeting, however, it was not from you directly, that this may have been erroneously stated and that that was not the intention, that you were to refer to it as a home business occupation, but as he determined that it was a accessory use. Do you have anything to speak to that?
Yeah, I think I used the wrong language in my initial sense of it. Accessory use is what we were seeking, because that's what I believe how it operates right now. We're not looking to make any change to how he conducts himself in the house.
That question also came up in the planning board meeting, that requires additional appearance and.
I clarified it at that time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going off the documentation submitted to me, and these are my, yeah.
Of course, it was a very thorough submission.
Yep.
Trustee Gross,
Yeah,
Speak up.
what's the red light on the looker's left of the house? I'm looking up the hill at the house.
I have no idea.
You know,
No, I haven't looked at it in my head.
if you're looking off the.
Is that
house,
relevant to
all the way
discussion
the-
before the?
It is.
You're saying that there's
You
a,
can't put red light on the left side, then they're gonna have, yeah, they're just.
you're saying that there's a red.
You know
There's
what.
a big, there's a
You know what
big,
it is?
there's a big red light.
We got an answer.
What is it?
It is a street lamp that is on the driveway.
So,
If you could,
And there's quite a few of them.
but there's one that you see from the front. Right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I haven't been there in the dark. Sorry.
It's like.
I don't believe that this
but it doesn't-
applies
there's
to
no-
what our board's determination is.
It's just, you know, his consciousness of the outside world, seeing what his house looks like.
I don't think that you'd be
Well, I think
troubled
it was already
by.
addressed. I mean,
Yeah, it's not a real problem, it's just a curiosity.
Yeah.
so there are several features that are being brought up for the home residency occupation, between people employed that would be coming. And I believe signage is also part of this, but I believe we have submissions that
I
have
can
been
take you
submitted
through the
to us.
list right now and
There's-
address all of them.
Yeah.
There will be no signage, there will be no employees. As I said, it's exactly what he's doing right now. No signage, no employees, no equipment displayed outside. None of it.
All right. Everybody's in, everybody's in receipt of that documentation, correct? With those facts being stated, we've had a lot submitted to us on this, and everybody's been reading it through. I think we're all in the know about everything. There's been a whole bunch of public commentary being submitted this evening, aside from just questions arising from the certified letters that have been sent out, which is to be, expected. Certified letters, they always are causing trouble.
I do have a procedural question. I'm sorry. I'm usually like very,
Let it rip.
I guess for clarification purposes, I would welcome the opportunity to represent Pat at the board to discuss and clarify before a letter went out to all the neighbors. So the letter might have been more clear to them and raised a little less alarm. So is there a reason why just procedurally, why I didn't have the opportunity to come see the board and represent the project before the public letter went out?
You were talking about it at our last meeting.
I guess so, yeah, which I didn't know
Yeah.
about until 2 days before.
Well, I'm sorry you were not aware, but
Okay,
usually
yeah.
when the application is presented before us, everybody should be aware of it. And,
You answered my question.
that would be the time when, you have, I
Okay.
know that you did submit a letter to us,
Yeah.
which we received.
Yeah.
And we did recognize and read at that meeting.
Yeah.
But once an application becomes for this board, we have to make a determination at that point of, is it something that's legitimate or is it not legitimate? And at that point,
To be heard.
yeah,
So,
for the board to entertain. And so at that time, we determined that, the planning board chairman, Peter McKnight, was here. He stated his case for making the application before us. Board recognized that it was a legitimate concern. And at that point, we scheduled for a public hearing because we have to take that procedural steps for everything. And so that brings us to
all right,
today.
no, I accept that entirely. I withdraw the question with the only slight complaint that I was only notified about the meeting a couple days before, and I wasn't able to make it to it. But I withdraw my comment.
Thank you for asking. There's no bad questions.
But I'm told.
I would like to just add one thing in relative to the physical change in the mansion. Decommissioning and making an accessory use structure, it involves removing cooking apparatus from the kitchen. It's the only physical change that's required. Other than that, the building can remain intact.
That's the intent.
I have a question. When you say decommission the house, what exactly does that involve? Decommissioning?
Removing
Perhaps.
removing the cooking equipment.
It's really just changing.
Changing
If
the
you're recommissioning it as
Okay.
something else.
from the primary use being a residence to primary use being a new house he's designing, and then that will become an accessory
Okay.
building.
Over here, some people down here.
So I guess the question would be, is if the bill is before us based on information that's easily clarified? Shouldn't it just go?
No, you can make a decision to uphold the determination. Their interpretation is that, which is with the determination of the CEO, or you can almost make a different interpretation.
Everything that brought it to us in the first place
I could read it to you verbatim what it says if you
Yeah,
like.
why don't you read it verbatim what you're.
How about maybe we close the public hearing and then,
Yeah.
unless there's anything else to be brought before the board, any other members of the public here this evening that want to add to the comment, the public hearing? Going once? Going twice? So do I have a motion?
I motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by, Kara, motions to close the public hearing on the matter, seconded by Alex. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor. So at this point, Paul.
Yeah, I'd like to read it. That's actually, I'm really glad you brought that up, Alex, because I know you don't see a lot of requests for interpretation. So.
This is our first one in
Yeah,
my.
I find it interesting, quite frankly. So it says 21061F, this is from our zoning, section F, interpretations. The zoning board of appeals may reverse or affirm wholly or partly, or may modify the order, requirement, decision, interpretation, or determination appealed from, and shall make such order, requirement, decision, interpretation, or determination as in its opinion ought to have been made in the matter by the code enforcement officer, and to that end shall have all the powers of the code enforcement officer from whose order, requirement, or decision the appeal is taken. So whatever you say goes.
Do you want to read your exact determination for them so that if they are choosing to modify anything, or they do a determination in its entirety?
Yes, it was sent on November 29th, it's a Wednesday. Item 1, decommissioning existing residence and converting to a personal use studio. This is a use permitted by right, accessory to one family as per the table of use regulations. This is not subject to planning board review for the proposed use. That's a quote in the written determination.
We would like to have a discussion on this matter or bring up any issues that they think may be scaring them at this point, one way or another. I'll begin with expressing that, after review of all the details brought before our board, and reviewing the determination, being that there is no signage, being that there's no employees, being that there's no real kind of commercial aspect of gaining profits from this endeavor that will be happening there.
Well,
And
no addition.
additional,
So the use will remain the same. What we're talking about is addition will be removed.
sounds like the use is already happening there, of what is going on, but it's not that it's being brought up to like as if there is some kind of commercial aspect where people are being invited there, it's being advertised as a space as such, or there's being money basically generated on site. I'm going to use just for my own personal self, an aspect of I am an artist and I generate art in my house, my property. And if I were to construct a studio off the side of my house where I were to construct art and practice and then bring it off site and do things, I would not consider that an at-home occupation, especially if I'm not bringing in employees, I'm not openly advertising space, I'm not openly advertising commercial products, brought into that space. Well, there is the aspect where, and Warren, you might be the only one who remembers this, but the glass blowing studio on Route 28, the actual glass blowing studio itself is deemed a accessory use. Obviously, that was accessory use to a gallery that was on the space, but still, in my opinion, that was a accessory space where art was being created, but it wasn't deemed actually commercial or under the review of the planning board. That's best.
The gallery was,
That silver just doesn't get that far.
Gallery was, And that's where that's like a little bit of a gray area, but, I only diverted to that because the term, accessory use was used in that determination. But I can't say where I would, maybe perhaps the scale of this project is much larger than maybe most accessory uses. You can acknowledge that,
That's not, it's not relevant.
but not relevant, exactly. The scale is larger
Because the
than most
question is-
accessory uses, but is it still an accessory use?
Existing side of the place,
I
Yeah.
don't think the sign.
There's no signage.
He's not using the entire building. He'll have family members staying in the bedrooms.
Yeah.
And he can go out there, maybe him and his wife want to go out, meditate, conversate, procreate, whatever they want to do.
All the Latin things.
There's one area that he's gonna use for the studio. It's not like he's gonna be using.
right?
Sorry,
As
well,
far as the scope and scale, no, the building is large, the space used is modest.
We got it.
sure, very helpful.
When I hear the music going, that's why.
But just, anybody else have any comments, members of the board?
Do you have any real commentary?
I'm just describing how I ride it personally, and where I would.
Oh, you did.
So,
Be nice to your
Are
neighbor.
you still thinking that it needs to go back to the planning board or? are you-
I think regardless, it's
I
going
was
back to
just-
the planning board,
No, I
if I'm not mistaken. They
You guys
still
can
have to
either
give us
hold
any-
his exactly as written, or you can make modifications, or you can.
I have any modifications.
Take a motion.
Is there any is there any modifications that any board members have?
To Paul's, I'm talking about modifications to Paul's.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Alex, you said you had a motion.
Let them make a motion to uphold the determination.
I will second that motion. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands?
Aye.
Let's all roll call this. Jeremy Vogt, in favor. Karen. In favor, Warren Chance. Karen Gill, in favor. Alex Hausmeyer, in favor. Liston Freeman, in favor. All present in favor, none opposed. The CEO's termination is upheld.
Did I get to apologize to the planning board?
What? No, we don't speak for the planning board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
They have to apologize for being.
Next order of business, we do have a new application before us for a property at 75 Horseland Lane. This is the one the address says, barring on. And I'm still unsure of what the request is, area, or lot coverage over exceedance.
Basically, the way the zoning reads, is pre-existing use.
Yeah.
It is permitted in the district, however, it has to meet,
0.9 something acres per.
yeah, it has to meet the density controls.
23.
Yeah, look, Rod, you gave me the map, did you present the map to your?
I did see a map. There you
Yeah,
have
there's a
some.
map.
Basically, the proposed number of dwelling units will exceed.
So what is, okay. I got like that falls under lot coverage, correct?
Yeah, so it's an area.
So what is the percentage he's requesting?
I didn't calculate percentage, here's what I wrote. Average density entire lot is currently 1 unit per 9.65 acres. So you
need a calculator.
I need a calculator.
So I was gonna try and work out this math myself before I came here, so I was like,
So increasing five, basically you need 2.5 man.
So we're dealing with a lot coverage exceedance, and we need a variance of probably roughly.
Divided by, how many are existing, Rod?
23.
So we'll go by 22.
And is that 28 seconds, you're looking to add 5, that's 27, it's definite. I'm gonna ask you some pointed questions that has nothing to do with. I'll give it a shot. I'm in the know about this stuff. Okay, so now is your time to, I don't have to host, we're not doing a public hearing. Now is your time to address the board, present your application to us. Obviously, you submitted some documentation before, but now is your official time to address us and ask us and tell us why you're requesting.
Okay, sure.
And just let me know what you want me to do in your application, okay? Where you want pictures or anything.
I understand. Yeah, so, it's an existing mobile home park with 23 units. It's what we're over 50 years. I'm new to this, so if I'm rusty here, correct me, or if I'm rambling. So it's 23 units. We're looking to add 5 additional units in that. It's mobile homes. We're looking to add additional mobile homes up to 5. I don't see any effects to the land. It's basically cleared land already. Doesn't affect the neighbors. Should there be traffic issues, it's just additional homes that live in the back of the park. I feel like I'm doing a great job. Any questions we need on it?
No, it's real, well, what you're requesting, I mean, what's set before us is pretty clear. You know, you're looking to exceed the allowance of the coverage of what can be placed on the parcel itself.
Yeah.
We're working out the exact percentage of that exceedance at the
Well,
moment.
this would be up to 5 over 28, so.
Wait, 0.965 exceeded, well, that's what they're requesting for each.
Well, the current density is 1 unit per 9.65 acres.
Yep.
If he does build out 5 more units, it's 0.792. 1 unit per.
Per unit, 0.792.
Acres per unit,
The
yeah.
density, right?
Yeah, relative to density, yeah.
Yeah, and just looking for the exact terminology of what the variances we're gonna do. Any dealing,
That's a very good question. It's not an easy one. The area variance is,
well, I have an auxiliary
I
question to this, and it may not have anything to do with the actual lot coverage, but as I did note that there was a pump house, and I'm assuming all these units are serviced by one general well system, is that correct? Are you aware that once you exceed 24 units, you are officially ruled by subpart 5.4 of the New York State Health Code and are under jurisdiction of the Ulster County Health Department? You have to follow all sampling schedules and bacteriological sampling of the Ulster County Health Department.
We do that already.
You already do that? Okay. That's awesome.
health department, was referenced in the referral letter.
I didn't see that.
I did put down in, no disrespect, sir. You incorrectly stated health department approval wasn't required of your building permit application. When I said, and you got a copy, when I sent the letter to the zoning board of appeals, it would be required not only relative to the water that the chairman spoke about, but the waste disposal.
Yeah.
So you're aware of this, I'm just you for clarification, but I'm aware of that.
And I believe that that is not of the purview of our board to keep it.
No,
That's a
no, it's the
planning board
density,
issue.
right, so the
Yeah.
density would be, it's an unusual situation, density would be increased from 1 unit per 9.65 per acre to 1 unit per 7.792 per acre.
Okay. Well, I do recognize that housing is a large issue in this county. And having any housing is important matter, in my opinion. However, I want to make sure that before our board approves this application, that we have correct terminology moving forward of exactly what we are approving.
As is appropriate.
Is that not stated on the application at this time?
I can, send
Can we
that
amend
to that
that?
referral letter, absolutely, I can do that tomorrow.
Tom Turn,
So wouldn't that be like 20%? Something like that?
What was the question?
Yeah, a little, 2.5% roughly, yeah. Under 3.
2.5%, oh, sorry, it's looking different.
So, yeah, I mean,
Is that enough to go with?
excuse me,
Is that enough to go with for this conversation?
I'm gonna ask the attorney that right now, whether or not the application, in my opinion, or the determination, semi-incomplete before us, can we recognize those numbers at this meeting right now and send it forward, or should we have it readdressed and then table this application and then,
An ideal world, you would want them to take the application, consider it, it's kind of notice.
yeah.
I think that is there any rush to want table and have.
My personal feeling upon reviewing this and seeing everything, I would feel comfortable just because there is health department issues concerned here and we're talking about housing. I would like to have this T's crossed, I's dotted before we send this to a public hearing. So I would not be opposed to tabling the application till it is completed in its entirety. Yep.
I'm sorry, what is it, just on the letter?
I would say in the application, we have to have details of what specifically is being asked of the board. And yes, and maybe a new determination letter from Paul stating, clarifying saying, yeah, clarifying that. Because I don't want to get into just sliding this, right? I like to slide things along and keep it moving, but I also like to hold things up when it's seems necessary. Yes, it's the devil's in the details. Well, unless there's any further discussion on the board, I would, I guess, table this application till it's completed, or should we ask for a entire new application?
Oh, I'm sure most of the application is correct, but it's just.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the
So-
application, submit the additional information, and then,
What other details? I'm still confused. I'm sorry.
It's literally just the percentage of the lot coverage that is being asked.
Okay, okay.
Exceedance.
Yeah, because it's not like, well, 10-foot setback variance on the, it's not that, it's a little detail.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
I read through the application and then there's someplace I printed out all determination. I still was left with questions.
next month, the application we submitted.
So what is Ron have to submit additionally? Is it just me or?
I don't know if it's
Just you, I think.
Just me.
As long as you have all the information to make that.
yeah, I guess I would say it's you first. And then if that is just added to the application, but obviously this word determination runs in line. Because usually, I'm getting your letter and I'm getting the application all at the same time.
How important is it to keep in mind that tabling something for a small number means now 2 months?
How important is it? Well, it all drains
How
down
do you
to,
balance that out?
because what happens essentially is we may or may not be making if we do it for one person, we're doing it for everybody. So we have to hold the line.
There's gotta be consistency.
Yeah,
If somebody doesn't have their numbers right, or there's not details contained, and we allow that to come through and we recognize it. And essentially, we have to do that for we have to make those for everybody. So
This is back on me. I didn't provide sufficient clarity in the referral letter.
yeah, I get it. It annoys me.
you get it, you got it. Good. Well, so I would like to make a motion that we table this application until we have a more thoroughly detailed letter of determination from the ZEO. The application is updated. More than welcome to nay that motion or abstain, listed if you don't feel proper about
Oh, no, I don't.
You're just asking a
Yeah,
question.
I'm just asking a question because.
And like I said previously, there's no bad questions, only bad answers. So my motion is on the floor to table application until we have a more detailed determination about it. Second by Alex. All present in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor, none opposed. We're working towards your request, sir. Sorry for the red tape.
That's all right. Sure won't be the last.
We'll see you
That
next
hurdle,
month.
I gotta jump, but all good.
All right, so, moving on to the next item of business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rod is very nervous.
We'll see you next month.
Pain.
Minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting? What month was it? April, May, March, June, July? Is there any errors, edits, or omissions that anybody recognizes? I know you submitted some typos.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you're in, still check that.
Yeah.
Everything's
Couple of double words. About it, right?
Yeah. Thoughts?
I also think it's weird to go back and forth.
Do I have a motion?
Oh, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Karen to approve the April minutes, second by Alex. All in favor, verbal aye or show of hands? You can approve. You were technically here.
I
so
was here, but I should probably abstain because I really wasn't part of the meeting, so.
We've had people approve minutes that weren't even part of all present in favor, none opposed.
I'm-
Yes.
Okay, I correct that. That's what you said.
Okay.
ZTF update. I don't know, what is going on there?
Well, we did have a meeting, we both made it.
We did have a meeting.
I don't remember the specifics of it. I have a large, in fact, it's a voluminous file already.
Yeah.
I did review 2-inch thick, started to over the weekend, and Bonnie Francis had prepared one of the last 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Really, we just keyed in on a few points that were going to be addressed. I don't remember what.
I think the major factor was, or at least from my perspective and this board's perspective, was adjusting the code that we can have 7 members and have an alternate, 2 alternates.
First and main
Yeah.
topic,
Yes, correct. So that is coming our way. It's not official yet. We kind of touched on this about the Andy conversation before, so I don't know, to be continued is for ZTF.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good
There's
night.
been a slight addition in the last couple of days. Town board is moving forward, the cannabis regulation that had kind of been started previous. We've had 2 requests. And so they're gonna start next Tuesday with the draft that had existed that they were, so I think,
We touched on that, but it was not brought up in the
yeah,
third anally, and I believe.
they
that's
are
on
now
the
moving
docket
forward
for
with
the
it
next.
because there's 2 requests and they want to get it going. So, just, they had it coming to all you guys to review it as well, but just so you know.
Cannabis coming your way. And also we have other business. We have to make a reminder that myself and Vice Chair Shand and Karen Gill have to still take our oaths. And I believe that has to be done in front of Tracy Kellogg.
Which may
During
be problems
office hours.
Tracy's out.
Last month it had to be done in front of Tracy Kellogg. So I'm told, but
We could use it.
you want to get, you don't want You have new business?
Yeah.
Okay, well, bring it before the chairman so I can, all,
Excuse me, I have a question. For the, oaths, can we just go in with Tracy as present and do an oath?
I believe so,
Yeah,
however.
Judge
That's
Parker.
harder to do them also, yes.
So could we go in during, when court's in session or when he's in his chambers or?
No, it's
Right,
not the
it's
judge.
chambers. Call
Excuse
Irma.
me?
It's not the judge, it's in the chambers.
No, he said that the judge
The
could
judge
also
can
do it.
take you.
Oh, okay.
Just know that they have to prick your hand and sign.
Just make sure that he has the book that's in the town clerk's office.
Yeah, at least if you get to sign it.
Could I just call up and see when he's present in the building?
Call Irma. Irma Hall.
Okay.
Because she'll have to make sure we get the book.
You had to do it at the very beginning of your term. Warren just renewed his term, so he has to apply to do it.
Is the corruption one?
No, not
Yeah,
that.
that's not the correction thing. That's just saying I pledge allegiance
Who is it? Where?
to the town of Hurley.
You have to display a red light on the
Okay, Paul has something to be brought before us, under new business.
Okay, I'd like to come to the front, please.
He's small.
This is Judy Arthur, who submitted an application today. It's for a use variance. Judy's had a short-term rental for, I was aware, probably 12 years ago, roughly. And she's appealing I had to deny the application because it's not a primary residence. I've got another one coming this fall, so you're gonna be seeing some of this. So what I wanted to do was just introduce you to Judy and connect her with Sam anyway. Just if you're willing to hear her thoughts, if not, then just to make her acquaintance.
Have you been paying county taxes?
Oh, yes, I've had my house for 34 years.
So no, before.
Yeah, and I have a certificate of authority and I've been paying the quarterly taxes since, I guess, 2015. I rented it, before that. Years ago, it was my primary residence. It's not the primary residence now, but I love my house and the community and I spend a lot of time here over the years. So in order to keep the house, I need to have short-term rentals in between. Be able to, come down here.
Where do you live?
Africa.
Oh,
Nursing.
no, the house is,
Maverick.
the house is on Maverick Road.
Yeah.
Which,
Which house? Are you my neighbor?
Does it have
no,
a
we're gonna
light?
find out eventually.
Oh, yeah, 245. It's on 3.5 acres, very privately set, very quiet and small. It's great as a romantic retreat for a couple, it's not a party house or anything. It's just a sharp and well seen pictures of this 100-year-old house.
You've never had a complaint from there?
Oh, never. It's really privately set. I always try to just rent to a couple. That's it.
Do we think that this is gonna become
Well, I'm confused because you said you had to deny your application for use variance.
Because it's not a primary residence, I had to deny the approval to operate short-term rental. We actually issued something called an operating permit. And,
Yeah, I'm still not sure where.
So they just sent out, new things to everybody.
Yeah. They just went out.
Shots and drums.
I live not too far away from you, and I live in a very private area, and I'm surrounded by 4 short-term rentals, which creates a lot of noise, a lot of traffic, dogs barking. You just never know who you're gonna get.
They're all
And
up
I've had-
Spencer Road.
Yeah, and I've had couples in there who have also made a lot of noise, babies crying, so, wasn't there a law enacted in the town?
Well, to my understanding, there was a law enacted and it was not the original law that was drafted.
The most recent,
Which I thought made a lot of
the law on
sense.
the books, Karen, is 2021. Well, what happened was no one administered and enforced the law.
Correct.
Now,
And there is no even kind of law addressing details or incentives of
No, and there was nothing addressing existing ones, just because of my weird relationship and Judy, or possibly ironically, probably if I hire a were the two, from my work, were the two first short-term rentals, just on vacation. In town.
So what, so we're gonna be having a variance use request before.
Yes, I'm sending, rather than send out their warning to you, they're all gonna want. variance.
Well, thanks a lot, Paul.
All right,
There's a bunch.
she's agreed.
Well,
You're the next report.
well, you're essentially what you're forcing this board to do is request a, relook at the short term rentals. That's what I do with chickens. You know, the chicken.
It's on the agenda for this UTF.
All right, Doug. Yeah, sorry, I said, hi, Betsy.
No, it's been very interesting listening to how all of you work, and it's, this is a small town, but everyone's so committed and, I've been learning a lot. First of all, I vet people who come to my house, as I said, couples. It's not appropriate for children because there's stone walls. I don't permit pets, and I'm 3.5 acres, very private woods that never find ever. But also, so I don't know if you make the occasional exception. I know it's a kind of new law. I just found out about it. I've had a certificate of occupancy for quite a few years.
It's relatively new.
But I understand that some of the towns have, a limited number of permits, some for owner occupied, some for not owner occupied, and even if you, the non-owner occupied. I mean, I'm there a fair amount of the year anyway, that I'm not, it's not that's for residents, but even people start charging a higher fee for owner occupied. I mean, that sounds very fair, and whatever. I love my house and I'm very careful too.
I have a question. What is preventing you from renting it out monthly?
It's been ever since I used to do that, but ever since Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, and all of these, it's very hard to find monthly renters. They're like, why should I rent for a month when I can do a 3-day weekend? Why should I spend the money? I've just found it very difficult to do, which is why I went to the short-term rentals. And I have somebody locally who sees it for me. I'm very careful about my house. It's very special.
Thank you very much.
It's small. It's very special.
So, use variances are like the, bad 3-letter word in the zoning board world. Not to say that they're not possible to obtain, because we have done that. However, the board, and I'm speaking to you, when you grant a use variance, especially a matter of this type, you're setting a precedence on the town code that will run to every single application that comes before us. Now, we haven't done this before because when it came to backyard chickens, we started handing them out in a can. Yeah, until we forced the territory to address backyard chicken, the lack of backyard chicken. Which they threw bees in there as well and stuff like that, which helped immensely because then it moved it from becoming a use variance to an area variance. This is a whole other beast entirely. So, if we're gonna get a bunch of them, we have to gear up and think in that mentality and not on like a single person aspect to each property.
Just a question on the opposite end of precedent.
Play the devil's advocate.
Yeah, so, how are we going about identifying short-term rentals that are not falling within town regulation? Are we waiting for a complaint? Or are we looking at the 176 that are listed?
That's what we do.
Yeah.
We have lists generated by a paid service, say one county uses. A mass mailing went out, wasn't appropriately handled by my office. course, I'm responsible for. And the applications have been flowing in.
It was only a matter of time to see all this growth and stuff. You gotta get.
The world will turn, man, we don't mind handling it.
I just wondered if I might be, he's in my age, but I had my husband for 4 years. Told him, you know, if there might be a grandfathered in or a senior exemption or something like that that didn't necessarily mean you had to.
Well, if that is applicable, it wouldn't go before this board,
Yeah.
and that'd be something
Oh,
essentially discuss.
Yeah, it's, it's like a big giant hive or probably that's opening up right now.
Anyway, I just.
Or will be opening
She
up, I
had
guess.
talked to Sam anyway, so I thought it'd be a perfect display.
Yeah, yep, well, I appreciate the, like, heads up, you know.
Thank you for your person.
You know, and
thank you.
we're gonna take it as it comes, so I guess.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for coming and introducing yourself. So just for information, next meeting, Thursday, June 13th. Submission deadline will be May 30th. Happy birthday.
What, your birthday's on the meeting or the submission deadline?
Submission that.
Submit all birthday cards by.
So submit before May 30th.
Are you in the office tomorrow morning?
Is there any other discussion or commentary the board would like to make?
I have a motion to close the meeting.
You are?
Yes.
Embarrassing.
Nobody's second.
I second the motion.
Second by Karen, all in favor,
Yeah.
verbal aye or show of hands, all present favor, none opposed. Yes.
Anything for us?
This resume.
There's a lot more. to do. Gotta do something.
God, it was not.
Hour and 26 minutes, that wasn't.